Yo, 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 what's up, peoples? It's your favorite bean eating mofo, fresh off the banana boat. Big Lou, tapping on in with what it do with Big Lou and his ZR2. Baby, baby. So, gonna hit you with the normal spill. If it's the first time you're coming to this channel, it'd be highly appreciated if you sub, like, share the channel with your family, folks, friends, camaradas, gente, comrades, buddies, pals, uh, however you state your friends in your vocabulary. You feel me? Also, go to the original channel, No Fly Zone Ricans, and sub, like, and share there as well. And feel free to leave comments. I respond back to all the comments. I appreciate all the subscribers, all the old school subscribers, all the new school subscribers, and future subscribers. With that being said, I'm going to get into this, and I'm going to wait about a minute, see who we get in here. If we don't get anybody, I'll continue to go. I know that we'll have a few people come back and watch the video after it's uploaded to YouTube. Okay, people, so as you can tell, this video is about no more locked doors, enjoying your freedom, right? Meaning you're not stuck in that, in that recidivism, that the statistics. You're not stuck in the statistics. You're not stuck in the so-called web, right? Where it's a revolving door. You get released, you go back on violations, you go back on new terms, prison terms, what they call out back east, East Coast as bids. We call them terms here. You got to pretty much, once you get used to that, you get, institutionalized, and everything you do is about that lifestyle of in and out. The way you conduct yourself, even out here on the streets, you don't last long. You're ready to go back. You go back soon, for violating whatever it might be, because you just can't make it out here. You know what I mean? Let's keep it real. When you're in there, everything's paid for. The lights, they give you clothes. Yeah, of course you like to have your own clothes in there, but some people might have burned too many bridges. Maybe their family members passed away. They don't have a wife. Their kids are not grown or anything like that to look out for them. Some guys you meet in there, they've been in there so long that the parents of them passed away. Their siblings are sick too now. They're in their 60s as well. So they don't live as comfortable as they used to live, right? So, you get, your toilet paper, you get they feed you 3 times a day, things such as that, where everything's pretty much taken care of, right? So, no more locked doors. If the thumbnail shows a housing unit that could be a 270. I'm pretty sure that's a 270 design. It could be a 180, but because it only shows just a certain section of the building, so it's either a 270 or a 180. Which I've lived both. Or actually, no, I haven't lived in a 180. I was on level 4 270 design, which is designed for level 3s. But then there's some yards where they use level 4s on those level 3 design buildings. So it goes from 101 on the bottom to 150, which is section A, B, and C. And then on the top tier, it goes 201 to 250, which is still A, B, and C sections. The level 4 will have the same building, but they don't have walls in between the building. Inside the buildings where you're showing like 10 cells, first tier, second, and 10 cells, bottom tier, something like that. It might be 8, it might even be 12, but it's something like it's some of those. It's one of those 3, excuse me. So you also got level 2s, and you even got level 3s in dorms too. And still, the doors are locked. You can't just go in and out. So it's still locked doors, right? And it's a form of when you say no more locked doors. It's talking about you being locked up. locked up in that bathroom because it's really the size of a cell. It's really just the size of a bathroom, really, with a double bunk in it. You have places like Vacaville where it's just one bunk. Also, CMC East is just one bunk in the cell. But majority of the cells got two bunks in them. So it's, no locked door, no more locked doors, right? And what does it mean to enjoy your freedom now? I've been enjoying my freedom now for 5 years in the county. And it basically just boils down to, man, your way doesn't work. My way didn't work for so many years. It didn't work. You can't go just continue to do crime, and think you're going to be able to stay out. It's not going to happen, right? There's so many people you can look at as examples of that. And for me, I was an example for myself, for many years. You got to do, I always told myself that I would never work at like McDonald's, things like that, right? Which I never did work at McDonald's or fast food joint once I got adult. I did work at a fast food joint when I was a kid, 16 years old, but this last time I got out, I took a job at a restaurant and I was the dishwasher. And you know what? It helped me get myself on track where it helped me to stay out. You know what I mean? Because not only did I get that job, the pro agents weren't on my ass. The pro officer, the pro agent, whatever you want to call them. They used to be called pro officers. Now they go by pro agent. They weren't right. He wasn't right on my ass. I was working. You know what I mean? I was showing pay stubs. I was working. You know what I mean? I was saving some money. What they do now with the pro, it's kind of like more like a social worker where you got short-term goals, long-term goals, and they put it on paper. I mean, they give you a blank paper and then you write it in what you're doing. So, for example, a short-term goal might be, to get your driver license, to get your ID, to get medical insurance, get a phone, get your social security card, different things like that. What's up, Tim Hennessy? Just getting ready for work. Have a great day. Yeah, you too, bro. Stay safe on the road, man. You always got to watch. So yeah, those are your short-term goals, right? I mean, a lot of people might look at that like, wow, that ain't nothing. Go get your driver license, go get your ID. But for some people, man, that get caught up in the system, they don't know how to do that type of stuff. They don't have the willpower to go get any of that stuff. They get released, they go drinking, they start drinking, get loaded right from the gate, man. So many people do that. You know what I mean? So when you start trying to structure your life, putting these different things in place, as a short-term goal, even if it's just getting your social security card, getting your ID, getting your driver license, getting medical coverage, get your whatever, even a little job at a restaurant or whatever. So many of us never had done that, or even attempted to do it. We just rip and run right from the gate, man, and you don't even go check in with your pro agent. You might go see him the first day out, or the second day out, because you have 24 hours to check in. And then after that, you just go on the run, which is considered absconding, right? And you'll get violated for that once they catch you. But and then long-term goals might be, get your own car, have your own place, things like that. Maybe if it's something with your kids, getting visitation privileges or something like that, maybe, things like that. And then, of course, real long-term goals, future goals, you might make something 5-year plan, 10-year plan, it might be to own your own business, own your own home, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? So by me taking that job at that restaurant, man, it really helped me, for one, to stay from getting in trouble, you know what I mean, and doing crime, because I had money. I was generating money, right? Income. I had an income coming in. It wasn't the best. I was only making, I think at the time, it was $11 an hour, 11 or 12 bucks an hour, and I was only getting something like 30 hours a week. You know what I mean? But you know what? At the time, I had no obligations. Even I was staying with a family member, and they weren't even really charging me rent. They were only charging me like, I think I was giving them like $100 a month. You know what I mean? Which wasn't nothing. You know what I mean? Because majority of that was going towards food, which I was eating more than $100 worth a month. $100 a month, $100 worth of food a month. So, so that helped me. Like I said, it helped me get in line. And you got to do something that's gonna humble you. You know what I'm saying? You got to do things that's gonna humble you, because, like I mentioned earlier, your way doesn't work. My way didn't work. Otherwise, we wouldn't be going in and out of prison. I wouldn't have had 5 prison terms, 4 prison numbers, and a couple violations, and then not to mention that, a couple little jolts in the county jail. A year here, 6 months there, 8 months there, 4 months here, 60 days here. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have had all that. I wouldn't have stacked up all these, a decade plus of time behind, in institutions, facilities, and prisons. You know what I mean? It just wouldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying? And then one thing too that I always used to think about, man, is my grandparents were from the World War II era, which people consider that the greatest era of human beings, or Americans, I guess you could say Americans. I would always think, what would my grandfather think of me? What would he think about this, me doing this like this? He wouldn't approve it. He would be ashamed of it. You know what I'm saying? I would always think in my mind. Some of that, that would play a part in my mind. I would always think about that. And then I remember one time my grandma came to court one time with my mom, and even though my grandma by that time she was showing signs of dementia and stuff like that, I was embarrassed. I was ashamed to let her even though she wasn't all there to understand what the judge was saying or DA or any of that, it still bothered me. You know what I'm saying? It still bothered me. And then but unfortunately, I still wasn't ready to stop. I ended up coming back to prison one more time after that, on another 4-year term. Actually, originally it was 3 years, 4 months, and then I went out to court, and they gave me another 8 months stacked on top of the 3 years, 4 months, making it 4 years. You know what I mean? So I'd always think of that. And then another thing that always would come to mind is legacy. Do you want to be remembered? Is your legacy? Do you want to be remembered as a F up, as a scum of the earth, or a degenerate dope dealer, or or whatever names they give, dope fiend, or gang member, whatever they might say. Oh, he was horrible. He didn't, he didn't take care of his kids, or whatever. I don't know. These are different things. Different names I'm throwing out there because different people say different things. You know what I mean? So no more locked doors, right? So now it's like, before when I was living my life, I'd always have to look over my shoulder. You see a cop, make sure just have to worry about if they're going to pull you over, for the way, because of how you look. And then, you're already doing crime, so that you don't want that to happen, right? So, all that stuff come into play, right? Now it's like I see a cop now, it's like I don't even give a crap. You know what I mean? I could park even in a parking lot somewhere, and I'm just kicking back or whatever. Maybe I'm eating lunch in the car, or I'm eating dinner. Maybe I went and got something to eat at night, and I pull over to park and eat. Now it's like, okay, they roll up on you. Who cares? It ain't no big deal. You're not tripping on nothing. You're not doing anything that's going to get you in trouble, or any of that stuff. You know what I mean? So that's what the no more locked doors means. You know what I'm saying? And enjoy your freedom. That's what I've been doing for 5+ years now. I got off parole. Matter of fact, let me think. I got off probation first because they just reinstated it from where I left off before I went in. And it was a trip too, because my last day of probation was the last day of my probation officer's. He was retiring the same day. And when I say that these parole agents and probation officers, he was an old school probation officer too, but yet the mentality of the parole and probation changed. It was no longer, lock them up. That's how it used to be. Just before I started doing time, and just about the beginning of me doing time, that's how their mentality was. Lock them up. Because I don't know how well you guys are aware of the situation in California, but CDC, California Department of Correction, was so overcrowded. They had facilities that were made to hold about 110,000, and they had about 175,000 inmates. These cells that they have 2 guys in, they were only made for 1 guy. But then because of the overcrowding, they added another bunk, or when it was built, it was made with 2 bunks. So you had all this overcrowding, and it was affecting the medical system. Okay, so I remember one time some literature was put out there about that every year the parole agents are sending back about 2 or 3 times the amount of judges sentencing people. So that, so it was showing right there that the parole had too much power, they would send you back. And, and a lot of that's for job security, right? Because parole agents, parole officers, how you want to state it, they're the same union as the correctional officers. A lot of correctional officers come out and they become parole agents. It's the same agency. It's the same. You work for CDC, you work for the state. They have the same union. You know what I mean? So a lot of these things a lot of guys are being violated, for job security. You know what I mean? And so it was too much power they had. So somewhere along the line, I don't know if it was the head of the pro department in Sacramento or what happened there, but I started noticing that the pro agents and some of the probation officers, they're more like a social worker. And a lot of these pro agents were old school pro agents. They already had been around 15 years, 18 years, 22 years. They weren't just new booty guys. You know what I'm saying? These new booty cats. These dudes been around. And to hear them talk to you like that, where they're trying to help you, they're not out to violate you. It was a trip at first, you know what I mean? Because you're always used to hearing stories. And then depending when you started doing time, then you knew firsthand some of the things that they would do, you know what I'm saying? Like, such as hide in the bushes and jump out on you and try to arrest you for things. And, just I've heard different stories over the years from different pro offices, some the Bay Area ones, certain agents from over there, and then also from over this way in the Valley, so I would hear a lot of different stories. But, you gotta, you gotta take what they give you. You gotta, the resources that they're offering you from that pro agency, from the state, or if you're on probation, from the probation department from that county, you have to utilize everything they give you. They'll help you. They'll help you. If you don't ask, they won't give it to you though. So you got to utilize it. It's your duty, and it's on you to open your mouth. And, if you got a new job and you don't have the proper work clothes and boots and gloves, you open your mouth, you tell them. They'll give you a voucher to go to Walmart or wherever it might be. It might not, you might not be at some good stuff right off the gate, top-notch gear, such as boots and stuff like that. But eventually, once you start working and you start saving your money, then you can get yourself better boots, Wolverine boots or whatever kind of boots you prefer. You know what I mean? But like I said, they do have money that's delegated for you to, for certain, work, and they help you with housing. They might put you in a halfway house for a minute. You know what I mean? You don't get charged. They don't charge you no rent, stuff like that. But you got to be using your money wisely. You can't be, coming home drunk or apparently under the influence or any of that stuff. Or they'll throw you out, and then when they test you at the daily reporting center, then they'll kick you out of there. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want that to happen. So, but on the flip side, you got to utilize all the revenue, all the resources they have for guys such as you or gals that are in your position, with housing, with like I said, the Medi-Cal, you'll get that easy when you first get out. You'll be able to even to get food stamps, EBT. They'll give you EBT to help you out until you start working. Once you make a certain amount of money, I think it's like $1,300 a month, then the food stamps they take away. You know what I mean? And I think the Medi-Cal they take away as well once you make a certain amount of money per month. But in the meantime, again, I'm gonna triple down on this, quadruple down on this. You have to take advantage of the resources. They have plenty of resources for people on parole, for people on probation in your county. And this is a fact. You know what I'm saying? This is a fact. Money is delegated from either your the governor, or your mayor, or actually, I don't know if it's the mayor. It could be the county. I think it's the county supervisor does all that. County supervisor is in control of delegating the money, which money goes where for the county. You know what I mean? So yeah, the mayor wouldn't be involved with that because the mayor's of the city. The county obviously is the bigger entity than the city, right? But yeah, there's plenty of resources. I've seen guys get work clothes, boots and gloves, and even work tools. Like maybe the thing is this too. Of course you're gonna wanna do Walt drill, or you're gonna want a Makita or a Milwaukee, but you might have to settle for getting something like Black and Decker at first, or Ryobi, or Rigid. Or, you might have to get something like that at first. You know what I mean? But then once you start working, you start saving your money, then you can get yourself something better. You know what I mean? You got to work with what you can get at first. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the boots. You got boots that cost upward of $200 a pair of boots. You know what I mean? So you might have to go get that $50 pair from Walmart at first, or Big Five, or whatever. Because I think the vouchers are from a certain store, I think. So it's like Walmart. So Walmart, the boots might not be comfortable like Wolverine boots and different brands like that, but it'll at least get the job done at first. And then, like I said, you save your money and you buy yourself a better pair of boots. As far as work clothes, you might have to get your construction shirt, the orange or the fluorescent green. You can get those at Walmart or Work World. for like $20, or something like that. Then you can get yourself Dickies and things like that to wear, you know, as far as pants, and then thermal tops. You can find all that stuff at Walmart, depending on what size you wear. You know what I mean? But again, you got to utilize what they give you, the resources. Unless you have money already saved, you come from family that's going to help you out with that. Then open your mouth and tell them exactly what you need. All they can tell you is, no, we can't help you with this, or we can't help you with that. Not like they can violate you for asking. You know what I'm saying? So utilize it. You know what I mean? Usually the main ones is, like I said, helping you with work clothes, putting you housing. Usually you'll go to they'll call it a sober living, where there might be 2 or 3 guys in a room, but it'll help you get on your feet. That's for sure. You know what I mean? You figure if you stay there for 90 days to 180 days, you figure you're making, just say, $15 an hour, right? 40 hours a week. You gotta, and they give you guys food, they feed you dinner and all that there too. So you might just be buying lunch, at work, maybe lunch, maybe a coffee in the morning, maybe a little Danish or something in the morning with a cup of coffee, and then maybe lunch. So what, maybe $15 a day on food. You know what I mean? And then you can always put what you want in there and put your own little name on it, and people won't mess with it. At the house, at the sober living house. You know what I mean? They got a ton of sober living houses in different areas. And then usually it's usually housing and work. And then now they're giving big tax breaks to companies that hire ex-cons, felons. You know what I mean? For so long they weren't doing that. They weren't doing that for so long. A big one over here that's through the parole department, at the Daily Reporting Center, is Caltrans. So the Caltrans, for anybody that don't know, they're the guys that usually you see them on the side of the freeways picking up trash and stuff like that. And then what they've been doing, that there's such a big problem with the homeless, they've been going cleaning up homeless encampments. They'll give these guys a warning when to be out by, and then if they're not out by that, and then they show up and they just start throwing stuff away. And so what they end up doing is, it's a program through the Daily Reporting Center, through the parole, that it's like a 5-month program where you work 40 hours a week. You know what I mean? I think it's like $16, $17 an hour. And then a lot of guys end up getting hired by them permanently. So, that's just one example. And then they always doing job fairs where they'll have people come and they'll interview you, where you submit your resume. They teach you how to make resumes, and they teach you different. Obviously, you do one-on-one classes or group classes with your fellow parolees, and some of that stuff's good. Sometimes they try to get you to look in. With the curriculum, it's used to get down to the root cause of the behaviors and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's just a little something, what they do there. They have a ton of computers there. You're scheduled certain days to come in. You're scheduled certain times when your number comes up for testing. Like I said, they help you do your resume. They got different classes on the computer, but most of the classes are done in a group setting with like anywhere from 5 to 10 people, and you have to participate. When they ask you a question, they'll give you some of the classes. You got to do book work. They'll give you like a workbook, and you got to do the pages by the next class, stuff like that. A lot of it's cool. Some of it's cool because it helps you, reflect on yourself and what you've done before in the past, and what causes you to, what causes you to continue to mess up and things like that. Harvey, what up, Harvey? So yeah, some of the classes are good. A lot of dudes, when they, they're so-called, machismo, macho, whatever you want to call it, they don't like to open up about themselves or anything, especially when you're in there with different races, different group segments. That's not something you do. You know what I'm saying? So when you get put in that situation, sometimes you don't want to participate. You want to sit there and be quiet. Sometimes they might allow you at first. So you get, you start hearing things from the other people, and then you might loosen up a little bit. But for the most part, most guys will just, sip it. They won't say much at all. They'll just maybe, because what they do is they go around, you introduce yourself, I'm so and so, I'm Lou, and they might ask you, how you feel today, and you have to say, oh, I'm happy and I'm alert or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And so people start to get, after a few days or a couple of weeks, people start to loosen up, and then they start to open up a little bit more. Sometimes they're not opening up much. It's just the basic answers. But then sometimes people start getting into the curriculum and they start opening up more. You know what I'm saying? And then you're able to, especially when you start having one-on-one with your instructor or your counselor, whatever their name whatever their title may be. They start giving you their input of what they've seen by you, or what maybe they start asking you questions to get some background, more background than what's in your file. Then you start answering more questions to them, and then they start giving their perspective of you. And then, sometimes you listen and you take it. Sometimes you don't, because, some people ain't good with constructive criticism, or sometimes, like they say, the truth hurts, right? Nobody likes to hear the truth. So it just depends, on the relationship with you and your your counselor, or whatever he might be, his title is to you, or hers. You know what I'm saying? But it's always, I think, from my experience, because I had to do a couple. Anybody that's had any type of drug case, or could have been sales, transporting, possession of sales, anything like that, DUIs, they send you to this thing called SAP program, and it's I think it's SATP, I think it is, or if it's not SATP, then it's SAPT, but it stands for Substance Abuse Program Facility, or Substance Abuse Treatment Facility, something like that. Anyways, it's mandatory. They send you to it. You have to do it, and then your first day you're in there, you're signing all these papers that you're admitting. You're saying that, yes, I'll participate. I'll do everything that's instructed for me to do. And if you sign it and then you don't do it, you get a write-up. It's all a big mess, because it's just a game. And what they do is they'll let you get yourself in trouble, where they'll put you on C status, right? And so you get privileges taken away, like the phone. You might only be able to go to yard for 1 hour a day instead of 7 hours a day. And that's called LOP, loss of privileges. They may take your packages away. Like I said, phone privileges, yard, your packages, and then your store. You can only go, instead of going $220 a month, now you can only go $55 a month. So they get you like that. And then what they do is, after your C status is up, they duck at you again to go right back to that program again. And then if you refuse again, you just end up screwing yourself bad over the period of time, that you can't get the time that took from you, good time, work time, because you done screwed up again within 6 months. So it's a big mess. So it's better to just, roll with the punches, you know what I'm saying? And see what you can get out of it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a little food for thought, for people that, that've been stuck in that web for a while, man. And I'm telling you, I'm here to tell you, after doing, I wasn't a lifer. No, I didn't do long stretches. I did 4 a couple of times, you know what I mean? And then a couple small ones. But I've done enough of my, life. I did more than a third of my life in there, or excuse me, a quarter of my life in there. Probably like, let me see, yeah, about 30%, probably about 28% of my life in there, something like that. It's enough, believe me. I done missed enough of one of my kids being born. I done missed, for first walk, first steps. I missed another child's first walk, first birthday. I missed enough, bro. So saying 28% of my life missed out because I've been inside is a lot. You know what I'm saying? So, it boils down for me with legacy. What would your grandparents think about you? Things like that, and the main thing is to humble yourself, to break that cycle. You know what I'm saying? You know how many guys I know that their grandfather went in and out the joint, their son went in and out the joint, and then the grandkids are going in and out the joint. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Especially from some areas around here, such as some of the bigger cities, Salinas, Oakland, San Francisco. You know what I'm saying? Definitely this happens in LA. LA, San Diego as well. You know what I'm saying? But I'm speaking more from where I'm from, Stockton, Sacramento, Oakland, Modesto, you know what I mean? Salinas, Hayward, Oakland. I already mentioned Oakland, San Francisco. It's a repeating cycle, man. When does it end? I mean, it's got to end somewhere. I mean, otherwise, it's like there's families that I know that their last name, as soon as you say their last name, it's like confusion. Are you talking about the father? Are you talking about the grandfather? Are you talking about the son? Which one is it? Because there's so many family members. The uncle? You talking about the uncle? You talking about the nephew? Which one? There's so many family members that got caught up in that web, and it is what it is. But I just wanted to make a little video about no more locked doors, eh? You know what I'm saying? And how to enjoy your freedom, and what some of the things I had to do, and what some of the things I've been through as far as some of the different avenues I took to get to where I'm at now. You know what I mean? And they say crime pays. Yeah, crime pays. It pays for a little while, but once you get locked up, and you know what I mean, and things like that, it doesn't really pay. In the long run, it definitely don't pay. You know what I mean? Because you screw yourself from getting employment. You screw yourself from, it's a whole lot of different ways. I mean, we can sit here and break it down, but it would take a while. But by going to jail, going to prison, you screw yourself up big time. Just barely now are they coming around where they're not holding that fully against you. You know what I mean? But there still are some jobs that will hold it against you. That's why prison reform, prison system, state and federal, need some big time reforms. You know what I mean? Because it's just not. I heard Harvey say this too the other day about nobody should be doing time for weed. You got guys that've been in there for 2-3 decades and for weed. You know what I'm saying? And now it's being it's being accepted. It's legal in so many different states. You know what I mean? And you still got guys in there that've been in there for 20 years, 18 years, 25 years, 35 years, 30 years on a weed charge. You know what I mean? And even dope cases. I don't even think you should be in there that long on a dope case. I don't see how you should be able to get a life sentence on a dope case. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, was it fucked up? Did you help destroy some people's lives? Oh, yeah, but you know what I mean? How are you going to be held forever on that? Like, you're not killing nobody. You're not doing no weirdo shit with kids or raping women. You know what I mean? These guys get slapped on the wrist. You're gonna be in jail 30 years because you were selling crack rock? Come on now. The whole system needs to be repealed and replaced. You know what I'm saying? On so many different levels. You know what I mean? On the federal level, they're just railroading the crap out of people, man. Black Hat Music, salute. You know what I mean? So they're just railroading people big time on the federal system, even the state system. It's like they say there's no such thing as double jeopardy. Well, when it comes to federal and state, there is no such thing as double jeopardy. You can get charged in state and then get charged from the feds for the same offense. So in other words, if you get caught with a gun, you can go to state prison for 16, 2, and 3, and then get picked up by the feds. An ex-gang member with a gun or something like that. That way that doesn't pertain to each other because it's two different laws, two different entities. But like state prison, though, they say that state prison. They say that say you go get time for something, you catch an armed robbery, you catch a strike, you get a strike. But then once you get released and then you come back, they double up your time because you got a strike from before, and then add on a prison prior too. So now instead of you just doing say 3 years, now you're looking at 9 years at 80%. You know what I'm saying? Or 10 years, 80% because you got a strike from before. So now I'm being punished again I've already done my time on it. So a lot of this stuff, and like I've mentioned this before, I think I mentioned this on Harvey's channel when I did it. Me and Harvey did a 4-part series so far. We're probably gonna do another one. We don't know yet when. I was supposed to jump on his live on Saturday, but I wasn't feeling good over the weekend. Some different medication, and it was giving me an upset stomach real bad, and I just no way I would have been able to sit there. But I mentioned this before about the 3-strike law. In 1994, Governor Wilson of California at the time, he teamed up with the father of Polly Klaas, which was Mark Klaas, and they went around the state of California pushing the three-strike law. Well, when it passed and then got into the court system, it was manipulated by the district attorney's office because that law was written for violent offenses, which are, everybody knows, murder, attempted murder, manslaughter, great bodily injury, mayhem, things like that. And then the serious offenses, which are those weirdo charges, things with kids and, and that R word, you know what I mean? But what they ended up doing was they manipulated in the system, and they started striking out guys on petty thefts with priors, stealing like jeans and things, jeans and clothes from the store, stealing things from the supermarket, food, breaking a window, which is considered vandalism. I've seen guys doing life for terrorist threats. They might have told somebody they're going to kill them, you know what I mean? But no action ever happened. I met guys that were, transporting sales, manufacturing, got struck out in their third strike for that. I couldn't believe when I came back in 2006 on that 6-year term, all the lifers that I met, and there was no, like every nationality, you know what I'm saying? It was crazy. I never had been around that before. My couple terms before that, I was level 2, and then, it might be maybe 3 or 4 guys you knew of that were doing life, you know what I mean? But they had been down so long, their points dropped. They're in a level 2 dorm setting. Now you're meeting all these guys in cell living, level 3. They're all doing life. You know what I mean? And they were all struck out on all bunch of different things, man. And like I said, a lot of guys caught like residential burglaries, which is a strike, but it's not a violent offense. You get halftime on it. What it means is, yeah, you got a strike on it. It wasn't a violent offense, but if somebody was home when you robbed the house, yes, it could have turned into something violent, And, you had a guy, like maybe they caught something in early 80s, mid 80s, then they caught another one maybe late 80s, maybe they caught one in late 70s, another one in mid 80s, and then they come back in 95, 94, 95, 96 with petty theft with a prior or a possession of a pistol, and they get struck out, with no violent offenses on their jacket at all. And now they're doing life. You know what I mean? So, like Black Hat Music said, 3-strike law is BS. It is BS. It needs to be thrown out or at least reworded and re-stipulated in the law itself on what exactly it pertains to. Which, like I said, originally it pertained to violent and serious offenses because, like I mentioned, Governor Wilson and Polly Klass's father. Polly Klass was a girl, was about 11, 12 years old. She got abducted out of her bedroom window by that trash can, Richard Allen Davis, who's still on death row. And this guy had priors for this stuff. And, like I said, they campaigned up and down the state of California to push this law. So here you got a father that's got a daughter that was abducted, sexually assaulted, and they're trying to push this law. Like I said, it was for violent or serious offenses. But once it got into the courts, they manipulated it, So it needs to be stipulated exactly what the law is for in the law books. At least in my opinion. And then when you get to the federal, and then they need to write these laws for these weirdos. The magic number seems to always be 6 years, 8 years. They're getting after like maybe the third offense or something like that. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I don't understand it. You got that one kid. He went ahead and had his deviant behavior, and some girl was intoxicated. He took advantage of her and gets caught in the act, and he goes to court, and the judge only gives him 6 months, and you only do 3 months on that, and then he gets to go back to, he was going to school at Stanford University, and then he gets to go back to wherever he lived. I don't remember exactly, but it was somewhere in the Midwest. You know what I mean? It's like it should be mandatory. Like if you get caught up with anything like that, you got to go to prison. You know what I mean? I've seen cases over the years that they get just slap on the wrist. And then a mofo like me comes through, and I'm getting 2 years, 4 years. I got to go away, and it's so petty the case. It's mind-boggling how these people with these weird cases can. It's just like getting off. Come on, your third offense, you're getting 6 years, and you keep repeating the same behavior. Which you're taking full advantage of kids, innocent kids. You know what I mean? I can't I can't grasp. I can't put my mind, how this is happening. You know, it needs to be repealed and replaced. The whole, like I said, prison reform, federal level, state level. You know what I mean? The county level, I mean, for the most part, it's pretty still, a year, anything a year and under, you do in the county. So I mean, the county level, I don't think is really an issue. It's definitely state and federal that needs to be repealed and replaced. You know what I mean? Reform, prison reform across the board. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna go ahead and close out for now. I got another live set up for about an hour from now. It's about Chicago, the outfit, and how they influence the gangs of Chicago. You know what I mean? It's only gonna be from my opinion, and what I've seen over the years. How they conduct themselves. That probably not gonna be too long of a video. Maybe about this length is where I'm at now. Maybe a little bit shorter. But I just dropped a couple videos on boxing. Not on live, but on pre-records. They should already be up now. Go check those out. And I appreciate everybody for stopping in, spending time here with me this Tuesday morning. And also, I appreciate everybody that's going to come back around and watch the video after it's uploaded. That being said, Big Lou, tapping on out with What It Do with Big Lou.